Alright, so the Las Vegas Raiders are in the middle of some crazy stuff right now. And if you're rolling with the silver and black, things are about to get nuts. I'm not going to say if it's going to be good or bad, but things are about to get nuts. There's all kinds of chatter flying around about the NFL draft. Is it going to be Sanders, Ward, or a position player? Or are there going to be free agency moves that could flip this team upside down? And a fat stack of cash thanks to the salary cap jumping up, Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, and maybe even Jon Gruden's ghost are probably pretty happy about it. The Raiders have been stuck in this weird spot for too long. Some good moments, sure, but way too many what the heck games. So today I'm digging into the good stuff. I'm going to talk about them maybe bringing in Najee Harris because Maxx Crosby is all about it, and this wild idea of snagging Debo Samuel for basically pocket change. Oh, and with $92.5 million in cap space, plus that extra $22 to $26 million from the NFL's latest bump, this offseason could totally change everything. So let's break it all down, because there is a ton to chew on. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. So the NFL draft talk is all over the place right now, and the big thing people are asking is if the Raiders are seriously going to skip a quarterback with that number 6 pick. Back when they were slogging through games against the Jags and Saints, ugly stuff, I'd have bet my house they'd grab a QB, no question. But then Daniel Jeremiah, who knows draft stuff better than pretty much anyone, said he wouldn't be surprised if they wait until day 2, like round 2 or 3, to grab one. That's nuts to think about. Aiden O'Connell's been out there trying his best. The dude's got grit, I'll give him that. But he's not the long-term answer. Still, Jeremiah's got me thinking. Shedeur Sanders was looking like a top guy, but recently, his stock's kind of been dropping according to some people after rough games to end the year. I've heard people say that he might not even go top 10. I highly doubt that, but meanwhile, quarterbacks like Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, and Will Howard are climbing up the boards, maybe into rounds 2 or 3. I'd say there's a 50-50 shot they pass at 6, and here's why. Chip Kelly's the new offensive coordinator, and I'm telling you, this guy's a wizard with offenses. Not as a head coach, he's shaky there, but as an OC, gold. And I witnessed that as a Buckeyes fan all of last year. He could probably make my grandma look like a decent quarterback. Jeremiah even said Sanders could fit in Kelly's system, but if Cam Ward's gone by 6, he's the only one I'd take that high, obviously. And Sanders isn't a sure thing, so why rush it? They've got a second round pick at 38, 2 third rounders at 70 and 87, tons of chances to grab someone like Dart or Milroe later. What do you guys think though? Round 1, 2, 3, or even later? Personally, I think I would just settle at 6 with Sanders, but I do really like Will Howard. There's a few guys later down in the line that I think have a high enough ceiling that it would be worth a shot. So yeah, I'm all ears. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now let's get into free agency, because the Raiders are loaded with cash, about $92.5 million right now, which is the second most in the league. Then, as I mentioned, Dan Graziazo dropped that the 2025 cap is going up. The Raiders and everyone else are getting about a $22 to $26 million boost, and for the Raiders, that will be from last year's $255.4 million. So add that to some smart moves, like cutting a few guys or reworking deals, and they really could push their cap to about $115 to $120 million. And that's a ton of money to mess with, and one name popping up right now is Najee Harris from the Steelers. Ben Rolfe at Pro Football Network says he'd be a perfect fit for Vegas, and Maxx Crosby is already on board, calling him a baller and saying he'd fit the locker room vibe. The dude's from the Bay too, which is a nice bonus, and Najee's 26, built like a tank, and he's hit 1,000 rushing yards every year since 2021, whether you believe it or not. He had 1,035, 1,081, 1,047, and 1,205 last season. Plus, he snagged 74 catches in a single year and can block like a lineman. He's projected at about $9.2 million a year, which feels kinda high when the draft's got studs like Ashton Jeanty, who had 1,435 yards at Boise State, or Ollie Gordon, who had 1,171 at Oklahoma State, waiting in rounds 3 or 4. But here's my take. If they can get Harris on a cheap 1-year deal, say around $7 to $8 million, he's a tough, reliable guy to hold it down while they groom a rookie. Some have said he's like Marshawn Lynch for Pete Carroll's run-heavy style, not as explosive obviously, but a better pass catcher. I'd honestly rather grab Aaron Jones for like $5.5 million or 5.6 or something like that. He's 30, but still nasty with 1,136 yards last year, but if Max wants Najee, you at least call him up. But yeah, also let me know what you guys think about Najee Harris in the comments below, or if you think the Raiders should just draft a running back. And then here's the wild one, Deebo Samuel. Yeah, I know you're probably like, no way dude, but hold off till you hear the numbers. The 49ers are strapped with $266.9 million in cap, and Deebo's $31 million hit in 2025 is killing them. Plus the word right now is that he's 20 to 25 pounds overweight. So they're dying to dump him, and reports say they'd take almost anything over cutting him. If the Raiders jump in, they could get him for just $1.2 million a year. His base salary after the way his deal's set up, that's it. $1.2 million for a 29-year-old who's been tied to Vegas in rumors. Look, he's obviously not the Deebo who torched defenses in 2021 with 1,405 yards, and the injuries and weight are sketchy, but for a 5th round pick and $1.2 million, that's insane value for a guy who can catch 77 receptions back then, run for 365 yards, and give Chip Kelly some toys to play with. I'd only do it as a 1-year thing. If he wants a flat new contract in 2026, I'm out, but maybe toss him $10 million in incentives to stay healthy and ball out. It's a long shot, 1% chance tops. But at that price, you've got to at least think about it. But stepping back, this is where the Raiders could really turn it around. Starting with that $92.5 million, call it $115 million after that cap bump, they've got room to lock in their own guys and go shopping. Nate Hobbs at $2.9 million is a no-brainer. Dude had 83 tackles and 4 picks in 2023, and he's only 25. Adam Butler's $15.7 million keeps that D-line nasty. He had 5 sacks last year. Robert Spillane's $10.4 million holds down the linebacker spot. He had 135 tackles. And Trayvon Moehrig at $3.4 million is a steal at safety. He had 83 tackles. That's $32.4 million spent, leaving $82.6 million. Then you've got cheap depth, Isaiah Palomal at $1.2 million, DJ Turner at under $1 million, Sam Webb at about $0.8 million, Jordan Meredith at $0.9 million, another $3.8 million there. So then the Raiders would have $78.8 million left. So they're not rebuilding from nothing. They've got pieces. Here's my dream plan with that cash. First, Justin Fields at $6.4 million or Russell Wilson at a lot of millions. Both can run even though Wilson is old, and really it just comes down to who the Steelers commit to. And Kelly could bring a run-heavy attack around one of them that's a nightmare to stop. Fields is way better value than Russell Wilson at $38.7 million or Sam Darnold at $40.1 million. And I'm not saying Fields is going to be the guy that's available, but if I'm the Raiders, I wouldn't spend big money on an older quarterback. So theoretically, that would leave the Raiders with about $72 to $70 million left, and I'm hitting the trenches hard. Josh Sweat from the Eagles is probably going to go for about $19 million. He had 8 sacks last year, and next to Crosby, who had 15 sacks, that duo would shred QBs. And then Mekhi Becton, he's projected to get around $10.2 million. He had a 75.2 PFF grade and a Super Bowl ring. Stick him with Colton Miller and James Daniels, who I'd grab at around $9.5 million. He had a 92.9 PFF grade in 2024. For a beefy O-line, that's $44.2 million well spent, which leaves the Raiders with about $28 million left. For the secondary, Javon Holland from Miami is valued at about $15 million. He had 66 tackles last year. He's a super versatile guy. And DJ Reed from the Jets is valued at about $14.7 million. He had 82 tackles with Carroll in Seattle, so he's a perfect fit at age 28. I really do think that this is a team that could go from 6-11 to the playoffs fast. If they skip a QB at 6 and are somehow able to land Fields or anybody like that, or they just wait until the later rounds and get Will Howard, and then they load up on some of the guys that I talked about and they draft smart, maybe getting a tackle at pick number 6. I know Joe Alt's gone, but Jonah Savianea from LSU could be a fit. The AFC West is tough, but this defense could hang, and Kelly's offense could shock some people. So I really am super stoked about what 2025 could be for this Raiders team that desperately is trying to right the ship. That's really all I have to say for this video. Let me know in the comments below what player you would like to see the Raiders get, and also if there's anything that I said that you completely disagree with. I'm all ears. I'm willing to take criticism. If you made it to this point and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world, and let me know what you would like to see next. Until then, I will see you all later.